Hello, my name is Hector Peña and I hope you're having an excellent day. Today we will cover a practical example of how to analyze the body language of a situation. Let's get started. First, let's review the facts and the context. During the 2022 Oscar ceremony, the presenter and comedian Chris Rock made a joke about Will Smith's wife, Jada Smith. Jada has a condition called alopecia, which causes hair loss. That night, Will Smith was nominated for Best Actor. And Chris Rock said to Jada, Jada, I love you. I can't wait to see you in G.I. Jane 2. Referencing a movie where Demi Moore plays a soldier with shaved head, mocking Jada conditions. A few seconds later, Will Smith got up from his seat and hit the comedian. In this class, we will analyze the nonverbal language of all three people involved. And I must clarify that this is for educational purposes only, and not to judge the ethical behavior of the individuals, or to decide whether their actions were right or wrong, or whether the event was real or staged. We are simply analyzing what body language tells us. Let's watch the full video.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. So we are here to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out for Best Documentary.
Let's focus first on Jada Smith. As soon as the joke lands, we can see for a moment that she politely smiles. And then everything changes. The reason for the slight delay is because he took her a moment to register the joke in her mind. When you're there and a comedian is on the stage at the Oscars, you are very aware that you are in front row and the cameras are on you. You laugh even if you don't understand the jokes to keep the atmosphere positive, trying to be encouraging just as she was doing. But then the joke lands and many things happen with her body language. First, I want you to look at her hands. She was sitting comfortably with her hands resting on her legs. And suddenly she brings them together, closing in. Always remember that when we see movement in the fingers, we should observe whether they move inwards or outward. In this case, they move inward, which happens when we are stressed or unhappy. Additionally, they are also coming together, which is a self-shooting gesture. She is adapting and calming herself down. Now, look at her eyes. We see something very telling. Her eyes go up and then down, as her head tilts back slightly. It's like, here we go again, moment. We roll our eyes when we encounter something we are used to dealing with, as if she had dealt with this kind of joke before. Then the second part. We see disappointment and disagreement. She looked at him sideways, squinting slightly as he had to say, really? We are seeing a vulnerable moment for her. Another very important thing is her posture. At first, she was comfortably leaning back with her head tilted, which is something we do when we feel very comfortable, because it's a vulnerable posture. We are exposing our neck. But when that joke landed, her body language changes. You'll notice she straightened up and adjusted her head position. She definitely went from feeling comfortable to feeling threatened. Now it's Chris Rock's turn, and I'm interested in two moments. One is the moment he notices Will Smith approaching him, and the other is immediately after he gets hit. First, we see his left foot move forward. And there are two ways to interpret this. One is that, as an experienced comedian, Chris Rock often uses what is known as a punchline stomp to emphasize a joke. The second is that this is something we do when we prepare for aggression. When we notice the dominant leg moving backwards, it could mean preparing to throw a punch. To me, up to this point, his body language is quite inconsistent. What do you think? Let's talk about his hands behind his back. There are two reasons why someone might have their hands behind her back. The main one is called the royal stance, because many royalty members adopt this posture, standing with relaxed shoulders and hands behind their back. It denotes confidence and status. Notice how, when hands are behind the back, we completely export our torso. This is extremely vulnerable. And when we feel threatened, we tend to unconsciously block these areas. It wouldn't make much sense for him to feel threatened and have his hands this way. The other possibility is the suppression of aggression. However, there is no evidence to indicate that Chris Rock is holding back at that moment. We don't see tension in the shoulders or anger. He simply isn't sure what's happening and doesn't know what to expect. And then comes the slap. As soon as he gets hit, the first reaction of his limbic system is to dodge the blow and protect himself. Afterward, his reaction is to raise his left hand to block Will Smith, but he doesn't raise it high enough to hit him, just to block him. But his right hand extends and forms a fist. There is a moment where it looks like he's about to take an aggressive stance, but he realizes what's happening and immediately brings his hands behind his back. And to me, this time, it is for sure meant containment and self-control. What I've been thinking about the most since seeing this video is how quickly he was able to regain his composure. We don't see signs of seeking help, nor the typical action of touching his face after getting hit. In summary, at the start, we see a posture of confidence and status. Then his reaction is inconsistent, trying to understand the situation. And in the end, we see him holding back while trying to regain his thoughts and reflects of the consequences. Finally, let's talk about Will Smith and what's happened with him. I'm pretty sure he didn't know this joke was going to happen. And the reason I'm sure is because of his sitting position. He's relaxed, legs crossed, and his hand between his legs. This is basically the posture of someone who isn't planning to go anywhere. With crossed legs indicating he's locked in a position and simply enjoying the show. Nothing about his behavior suggests he is expecting something or preparing for something. Now, the next point is that he laughs at the joke, and he did it, it's undeniable. But again, this goes back to what I mentioned about Jada. Many times they are simply on autopilot, showing they are having a good time. I wish the camera had stayed on him to see what happened to his body language when the laughter fades. A few seconds later, he gets up and walks toward Chris Rock. This is a completely emotional response. Any rational person would use words or gestures first. And during the entire walk, he had multiple opportunities to stop and do something else, but no, he slaps him in the face. He is not acting or playing the role of an angry person for the cameras. He's having a real emotional experience. When he returns, he shows a smile, and it is him thinking, I did my duty as a man and protect my wife. Then he sits down and shoots twice at Chris Rock, not to use his wife's name. When we are angry, we tend to focus and have that intense look. His nostrils flare, which is one of the most evident signs of anger, because the body needs more oxygen as it is in fight or flight mode. We see that he is sweating and he has tension in his jaw. This also indicates anger. And if you watch the video, notice the cadence which is he speaks the words. There's a pause between each word, as if he's making sure to convey this message and taking breath at the same time. In summary, my personal opinion is that this was not planned. The evidence strongly points to a genuine and emotional reaction for Will Smith. We have reached the end of this class, and I hope you found interesting. I have to tell you that the skills of interpreting and mastering body language is achieved by practicing, and practicing even more. And I suggest you to analyze body language when you see news like this and try to decipher what each person involved was feeling at that time. That will help you a lot. And if you have any questions, please use the Q&A section. I leave you with a quote to remember. Life is 10% what happened to us and 90% how we react to it. Thank you very much. My name is Hector Peña, and I'll see you in the next class. Take care.